Colin, is Saquon Barkley. Last month, Saquon talked about flirting with retirement. I don't know if you remember that, but he has since backtracked, saying he doesn't plan on retiring anytime soon. Instead, Saquon has his eyes set on becoming one of the greatest running backs of all time.
The thing that drives me is the same thing that has been driven me since I was a little kid, and I've said it since I got into the league, and I don't mean it in an arrogant way. I want to be the best running back to ever play, or at least one of the best running backs to ever play. I don't think there's actually a way you can prove who's the best, but that's always been my motivation.
You know, to be the best running back of all time or the best receiver, you have to have iconic moments. And when Barkley jumped over that player backwards, like that's never been done by a running back. I mean, that's what Barry Sanders has. He has 2 or 3 of these iconic moves. Like Barry Sanders has 2 or 3. Walter Payton's got a few of those. Marcus Allen's got a handful. Earl Campbell does. Bo Jackson does. Marshawn Lynch, that beast mode run against the Saints in the playoffs in Seattle. Like, to be an all-time running back, it is such a unique position, all shapes and sizes and styles, that you have to have iconic moments. I think that when he leapt over the defender backwards, it was like, oh, okay, that's never been done by a running back. I do think he has a chance to be 2 or 3 more years in Philly and a few more of those. I think he's in a very, very rarefied air.
I don't think that's been done by anyone. I mean, they're putting it on the cover of a video game. It's so crazy. I'm looking up lists of the best quarterback or best running backs ever. This isn't like an NBA discussion where you can stack, all NBA, MVP, finals, all that stuff. I don't know. A lot of them have Jim Brown #1. Now, I wasn't born. I don't even know if you were. It's tough for me to put a guy from the 1950s, early 60s on the list.
Right.
But Barry Sanders is considered up there. Walter Payton, Emmitt Smith, LaDainian Tomlinson, Adrian Peterson, Marshall Faulk. I certainly think Saquon could be a top 10 all time.
The best running back I've ever seen, I've said it multiple times, was Walter Payton. You got the shiftiness. I would say pound for pound, he may be one of the strongest players in league history. Walter Payton was insanely strong. I think Barry Sanders is second, and then I think there's about 12 guys, which includes, by the way, a healthy Christian McCaffrey. When Christian McCaffrey's healthy, he could be a slot receiver in the league.
Let me ask you, you remember this guy, Thurman Thomas from the 90s, Buffalo Bills.
Very good,
He did
very
everything.
good.
He was like receiving, rushing. Like, is Saquon better than him? It's really tough to quantify these things. And Saquon said that in his quote, like, I don't know how you judge that. Some of it is subjective, but I think Saquon certainly can be a top 10 all-time, maybe top 5.
Adrian Peterson, although he had
on many lists.
Peterson could fumble it, wasn't great out of the backfield as catching the ball. But in terms of raw speed and power, I think Adrian Peterson's probably one of the top 5 I've ever seen play.
Okay. This whole conversation was actually pretty funny and ridiculous for many, many reasons. First and foremost, like, he wasn't necessarily like flirting with retirement. Saquon Barkley is like a very honest, grounded, like, he's a real human being. He's a real human being. He's not like, doesn't have this gigantic ego. He doesn't try to just like speak things into existence and this or that. Like, he's just a very real human being. If you just hung out with him, you probably would have no idea that he was even remotely just famous and wealthy and an insane athlete. Like, he's just a textbook like regular Joe who balls, I mean, like, look at his wife and kids. They're like literally like the definition of just like the every family out there. I mean, seriously. His fiance or wife, whatever she is right now, like, was just like a regular Penn, girl who just went to Penn State, and like that was it. I mean, like, she's going to games wearing like sweatpants and a t-shirt. She's not all decked out and being all fancy and trying to be famous in her own right. Like, she's just a regular person. Like, that's who they are. So, like, yeah, you talk about things like retirement and family and this and that. So it's like when he now says like, I want to be the best I could be, he's like not backtracking. Like, it's just I take such issue with that framing, honestly. And then, because again, even this statement right here, where he said, I'm motivated to become the best, running back ever. And then he says like at least one of them, and it's kind of hard to quantify. Like, that's a real conversation. He's not like, I think I am the best, I think I'm the best to ever do it. And it's time for me to prove to everyone. Like, he's not even saying that. He's like, yeah, I'm motivated to become the best that that there ever was, or at the least the, one of the best. And like, it's just a very real, grounded, honest aspiration and statement to make. And I love it. I love it. It's like I'm going to just keep saying this over and over again. It's real. It's authentic. It's grounded. It's confident. It's not egotistical. It's not delusional. And that's why it's always funny. It's like, I think he could become one, a top 10 running back. And it's just like, I mean, in a lot of ways, you can make the argument that he already is, considering his achievements and what he's been able to do. I think when you're quantifying greatness of a running back or a wide receiver for that matter, really any position player, like it's hard because, and I talked about this months ago when we were kind of loosely having this conversation. It's like, how do you define greatness? How do you define top, who's a top at anything? Is it their peak? Is it the sustainability? And we talked about this a little bit where it's just like, what if you have two of the, what if someone like Saquon Barkley rushes for like 3,000 yards 2 years in a row and has 20 touchdowns each time, but then the rest of that, he's just kind of like 1,000, 800, 700, just a lot more, just kind of like average type numbers. And then what about a running back who plays for 25 years, but just gets like 800 yards, 700 yards, 500 yards year after year after year? It's like, what, it's like, how do we quantify that? And it all depends on what what you find most important. And that's why Colin was kind of like, they need to have moments. And it's just like, in order to be an all-timer, you need to have moments. And it's just like, I mean, I guess technically, but I don't, in order to maybe be really popular, you need those moments. But I think there's probably plenty of players who could be literally the greatest to ever do it and have no highlight reels. None. I mean, take it to the extreme where Saquon Barkley is just, again, plays for 20 years, averages, again, take it to the extreme, 1,500 yards, plays for 20 years, gets 10 touchdowns, but doesn't have any of those moments. Doesn't have a 60-yard touchdown run. Doesn't have a single 60-yard touchdown run. No, like, crazy jukes and jumping backwards. He just rushes for about 5-6 yards a carry, and he's just able to consistently do that. He gets the ball, he fights through a couple tackles, and then gets tackled 5 yards. And he just does that game in and game out. No highlights. All boring. Completely boring. Gets his touchdowns by it's first and 4 first and goal at the 4. And he just kind of falls in. Like, that's it. Nothing else. And that's how he gets his stats. Like, is he not an all-time great because he doesn't have some of those highlights? Like, it's, I don't know. But I'm less interested in trying to figure out, is he actually the best running back ever, or can he be, or this or that. I look at it just more of like just judging his words at face value and then trying to dig a little bit deeper. And it's just like, I love to hear what he's saying. And again, it's coming from a grounded place, which makes it all the world better. And that's really all there is to say about that. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Saquon Barkley backtracking his retirement and him trying to now become one of the best running backs ever? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.